This episode begins with Jeff spoiling Season 5 and parking for the job he will eventually have, while committing some light fraud to keep the demons at bay. Jeff is detained by the feds, and the study group is discussing pooling their finances to help him, but Britta would rather focus on something more important.
Well, you guys have some self-respect. You are obsessing over someone who does not give you a second thought. Meanwhile, in Guatemala, journalists are being killed by their own government.
Britta exploits the group's ignorance and recruits them into an anti-Guatemalan hate group.
Believe me, every day in that country, people are being killed for speaking out. And the worst part of it is, Guatemala...
Hey!
Having escaped federal custody, Jeff celebrates by reintroducing us to the group.
My lady. Baby. Vitamin P. Good entrance. Britta.
Hey, Jeff.
Britta considers bringing Jeff into their new hate group, but the rest of them are a little hesitant to add a shisty fraudster. Annie meets Britta in the middle by providing Jeff with some anti-Guatemalan literature to look over while they make their decision. Having looked over the literature, Jeff offers Britta an alternative of his own.
The Torah.
But Britta lets him know what she thinks of that.
Cute, but selfish and narcissistic to the point of near delusion.
Disappointed in the group's proceedings, Pierce tries to show Jeff the error of his ways.
It starts to creep them out. Why don't we go get a beer? I'll give you some advice, and we can have what the kids are calling a sausage fest.
Shirley and Annie want to bake brownies for the anti-Guatemalan rally they're planning, but Britta is having none of it.
Brownies?
Next, we're introduced to Senor Chang. Chang is a
mysterious, inscrutable man.
And he also has a favorite student.
Shirley.
And it is none of your business why he teaches Spanish.
I don't want to have any conversations. I am a Spanish genius.
Chang reiterates his love for Shirley before splitting the class into pairs for a project. Jeff really wants Britta to give the Torah one more chance, and thinks a smaller striped shirt might make it happen. He offers Abed $50 for his V-neck.
$50. No.
A small fortune later, New Shirt, New Jeff tries one more time with Britta, but Britta blows him off for a bowel movement. Rejected by Britta and feeling down, Jeff shows up to work with his new partner Pierce. Here, he forces Pierce to drink with him and begins to make racist suggestions for the presentation. Pierce fights back against the racist ideas and tries to figure out what's going on with Jeff.
So what's up with you, Jeffrey? It seems like you got a burr up your ass or something.
Well, I guess that it's,
Undeterred by Jeff's deflection, Pierce continues to try and steer them away from racism. Britta arrives at the rally to find that Shirley and Annie went ahead with their brownie plan. She confronts them, but when they don't back down, Britta threatens to suppress their American right to protest.
Are you saying that we're not allowed to protest? Britta, you sound like Guatemala.
Britta eventually leaves, letting the two of them know how they'll end up if they make brownies again.
Beaten to death.
Pierce is losing his mind, trying to come up with an idea for their project that isn't racist that Jeff will approve. Jeff does attempt to make one more compromise with some ideas of his own.
something incredibly long and very confusing and a little homophobic. And really, really specifically, surprisingly, and gratuitously critical of Israel. And it's called Two Conquistadors. Should probably be Dos. I mean, it is a Spanish class.
Troy and Abed arrive, half-heartedly recruiting for the rally. And in his dejected state, Jeff comes up with a plan to use the cause to his advantage. Jeff stalks Britta at the silent rally, paying innocent people off for their silence. Britta is terrified, but before Jeff can carry out his plan, Pierce steps in to stop him.
I'll show you some sperm, buddy. your idea? What the hell is this? I'm fired!
The next morning, Shirley and Annie chastise Britta for making their rally about her and threaten to make more brownies in the future.
You need to bust out that brownie mix.
Then we find out the lengths that Pierce was willing to go to combat Jeff's racism before he gave up.
He offered me $100 to switch cards with him just so he could be partners with Jeff.
Pierce tries to get Chang involved in stopping Jeff's bigoted performance, but Jeff ignores the teacher and forces Pierce to perform with him.
That doesn't sound fair to me at all.
Scared for his life, Pierce goes along with the abhorrent display. After spotting a look of disapproval, Jeff gags Annie and takes her hostage in his performance. Jeff and Pierce pass the presentation with flying colors.
F minus.
But one person Jeff did manage to reach was Britta, who once again sees him as a sexually viable candidate. And the second episode ends without anything else interesting happening.